What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus update and daily news report for Monday, May 9th. So today is a very big day, start of the week. Today is actually Victory Day over in Russia. Have some news on Russia. I will address that at the end of today's video, but first I want to talk about why this is such a big week. Then I want to go into what's going to happen, leading up to this, all right? First thing that you need to understand, okay, lawmakers are planning on votes for the $33 billion that's going to go towards Ukraine. That's essential to Ukraine. The Senate also plans to vote on Roe v. Wade. On Wednesday, May 11th, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to have our new CPI data come out. This is very important. Currently, we're sitting at 8.5% inflation. This is the big headline number. On Wednesday, the expectation is we should be at 8.1%. This is down 0.4% from where we currently sit. This will be big. If we do not hit this and we go up, the markets are going to freak. The American people are going to most likely stop spending as much money as they have been. And the big thing, the Federal Reserve may step in and hike rates a little bit faster, which would really throw the economy into somewhat of a tailspin, or at least the beginning of one. We also know that the Biden administration is likely to provide more updates on who could potentially get their student loans forgiven. This is something that the Biden administration is going back and forth with because some say this is not what is needed. This should not be the focus. It should be focused on inflation. But we're going to see what happens. Now, that's coming up this week. But let's talk about what's going on today. First, Senator Joe Manchin. He's making a lot of Democrats very upset, but he is also saying that now he's open to passing parts of Biden's economic agenda. That's good news for Democrats. Today, the White House states that they worry that other countries are not pushing their COVID response as the United States has stopped funding certain programs in other countries. And this is one of the things that is happening is this week, the White House is going to host a COVID response summit. But the problem there is, without new funding on our end from the United States, other countries might feel as if they don't really need to fund their own programs after all. So, major issue coming forward. The Biden administration also announced just this weekend that we are going to see the $30 internet plans. Well, the Biden administration announced this morning that they have secured 20 internet providers that are going to either increase speeds, give you faster internet, or they're going to cut prices to tens of millions of eligible U.S. households. So that's really good news there, that they're going to use some of the money from the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill in order to pay for this. So great news for the American people. We also know the American people are worried about potential layoffs. That's a big thing. We also know that the IRS, is actually going to be sending out billions of dollars, and they are expected to send out billions of dollars to interest to people that are still waiting on their tax returns. So again, if you're wondering, hey, I haven't got my tax return, what's going on? They better be paying me a little bit extra. Well, they will. They're going to be paying you about 4% in interest. So just keep that in mind. And lastly, at the end of today's video, I want to provide you with a quick little update on what is going on with Russia and Ukraine. So that's what's going on today. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. So let's get right down to it. And let's start with Senator Joe Manchin. But first, before we get to that, if you can, just spend 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and make sure you click that subscribe button, and also click that notification bell so you never miss an update. But here's the problem. For Senator Joe Manchin, and this is something that we've gone back and forth with over the past 6 months. We're in May, so yeah, back in early parts of December, Senator Joe Manchin said that, let's pass President Biden's economic agenda. Well, back in December, right before they went on recess, Senator Joe Manchin stated he would not accept President Biden's economic agenda due to the increased inflation rate and likely surge that we would most likely see. Well, now he's changing his mind. But why is this? It's actually pretty simple. Senator Joe Manchin, he says that he will pass parts of President Biden's economic agenda. And he made it very clear that he will accept a budget reconciliation without any Republican voters so that Democrats can raise taxes. That's the first thing. They can reduce our national deficit. The second thing. They can use some of those tax dollars to pay for and fund energy and climate measures. And the last one, cut prescription drug costs. Those are the four things he wants. The other thing is, if we see, let's say $1 billion, which is a small amount of money, but if we see $1 billion in new funding coming from tax revenue, he wants to spend 50% of that. So $500 million to cut our national deficit. The other $500 million could go towards, prescription drug costs and climate measures. So 50% for reduction, 50% for other programs. That's one of the issues. Well, here's another issue. The one problem that Senator Joe Manchin has is he doesn't want to be the one writing the bill. He wants others to write it for him. And the reason for this is because Senator Joe Manchin, he's never been the one to write bills that are partisan. He is all about reaching across the aisle, getting support from the GOP. Well, he can't do that if he writes a partisan bill. This is why even Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says that the White House needs to be the one to come up with the plan and hand it over to Senator Joe Manchin. The odd thing is nobody is writing the bill. Not the White House, not Joe Manchin, not Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, not Nancy Pelosi or House Democrats. Nobody's writing the bill. Now, if the White House does write the bill, this is what many experts are predicting. We are going to see additional provisions as well. It's not just going to be climate. It's not just going to be the prescription drug cost cuts. That's not all it's going to be. They expect there will likely be push for some stimulus, especially if inflation begins to fall in just 2 days. In 2 days, if we see our inflation rate, our CPI data come in and say, okay, we're not at 8.5%, now we're at 8.1%, now we're coming down. I'm just saying, this could potentially be a win for some Democrats because the chances are, if we see inflation come down, the expectation is the first provision that would be added is the child tax credit payments. Those would get reintroduced, but with one major change is there would be work requirements. Now, I know for the 64 million families who received these last year, this would be greatly appreciated because many families fell back into poverty once these payments expired beginning of January. So again, we're going to see what happens, but that is the expectation at this time. Now, here's something else. So this weekend, the Biden administration, they addressed plans on providing more low-income communities with either faster internet or cheaper plans. Well, today, they actually announced that they have secured commitments from 20 internet providers to do just that. The White House says that through their Affordable Connectivity Program, which was passed through the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure package, that they can now provide families with $30 internet bills, and some will even see free internet. That's pretty big. Well, here's one of the problems. One of the problems that many families have faced over the past 2 years is that they don't have reliable, fast internet. And if children are at home doing their schoolwork, parents are at home doing their actual work, it really slows things down and it doesn't make it as efficient. Well, here's where things get even more interesting. This program has been there since, I believe, January. Okay? It's been there for a while. We're 5 months into the year, and people are just now learning about this. I can tell you right now, I was just learning about this program about two and a half months ago. I didn't realize it was there or that they were actually sending the money out. But currently, according to the White House, there's about 48 million households that are eligible for the ACP program. But as of February, okay, so 3 months ago, as of February, only 10 million households were even enrolled in this program. So the Biden administration is saying that there is still a lot of people that need to get enrolled, but How do they do this? Well, the Biden administration has a plan. Their plan is to advertise their program, make sure everybody knows, where they can go to enroll in it. And you're probably wondering, well, where do I go? Well, you go to this website. It's called getinternet.gov. Here it is. You can go to getinternet.gov. It's going to bring you here. It's actually a whitehouse.gov website. You can come down here and you can see, okay, there it is. Eligible families who pair their ACP benefit with one of these plans can receive high-speed internet at no cost. Or, there you go, no more than $30 per month. Awesome. How to sign up, claim your Affordable Connectivity Program benefit. There you go. How do you want to qualify? Do assistance or household income, right? Apply now. You get the idea. That's all you really have to do. Pretty simple. However, the problem is nobody knows about it. If you do not know about the program, you will never apply for the program. It's that simple. So that's one of the first things that the Biden administration plans on doing about 5 months later, but that's the first thing they do is to educate the American people that, hey, this is here. You can get free internet. Just go to getinternet.gov. All right? So if you have questions on that, please ask your questions down below. Now, this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a little while, but I want to talk about layoffs. Because one of the biggest fears that government officials and even the American people have is their job actually safe? Can they guarantee that they're going to get an income? And I can tell you that nobody's safe. Every single person has the risk of being laid off. Okay? And I'm just going to read through some of the companies that have laid off employees. Okay? Because it's a wide range of industries. First, we have Reef. They actually laid off 5% of their workforce. Reef is technically a technology company, but they have a lot of parking lots. They laid off about 5% of their workforce. Robinhood, who's a financial company, you can trade with them. They laid off about 9% of their workforce. Peloton, who's in the fitness industry, also in technology a little bit, they laid off thousands of workers earlier this year. And their stock has just been plummeting. Netflix is planning on making many cuts. Better.com, you probably saw the news on them, late last year. Well, they got rid of more than 4,000 people. Wells Fargo is in the middle of laying off mortgage-related positions. Even Meta, this is the parent company of Facebook, they said that they are going to initiate a hiring freeze due to an industry-wide downturn. These aren't good. The problem with layoffs, and the reason I want to bring this up is because, and I've been telling people this for some time, just because you have a job, that's great. The problem is, what happens if you get laid off? If you do not control what you are making, for example, being self-employed, that's the hard part. You can't just go and say, I'm going to work an extra 10 hours this week. If you're working for Wells Fargo will be like, no, we are not paying you an extra 10 hours, especially if it's overtime hours. We're not going to do that. We cannot afford that. So guess what? You can't work an extra 10 hours. But if you're self-employed, you have your own business, you can. So one thing I can tell you is now's the time. Start your own business. Start small. Okay? Sell something on eBay. Sell something on Facebook. Okay? Start small. You will get there, and you can put extra money in the bank. Now, let's talk about the IRS, okay? Because here's what's going on. The IRS, okay, they are having a severe workforce problem. They don't have enough employees to get through the current year tax returns. The bigger problem is they're still trying to get through the 2020 tax returns as well. But this is the reason why the IRS has recently said they are paying Americans 4% interest when they can't get their tax return to them in a timely manner. Probably wondering, well, how long is a timely manner? Well, good thing you asked. It's about 45 days. When you send off your tax return, okay, and the IRS gets it, the IRS needs to process your tax refund within about 45 days. If it's not, you will start to accrue interest. Now, here's one thing I just want to point out. Many people are like, I've got my tax return, but it's been so late. The problem is they never send me any interest. Here's the thing. The IRS most likely did send you an interest payment, but the IRS sends the interest payment separately. So you get your tax refund, and let's say it's $4,000. You know it's going to be $4,000 exactly. Well, you get it, and it's $4,000 exactly. Okay. If it came through direct deposit, just check a little bit later, because your interest payment likely came separately. It could have came the same day, or it likely came within a week of you getting your tax refund. So just keep that in mind. Now, in fiscal year 2021, the IRS actually paid out more than $3.3 billion in interest. This is actually 3 times triple what they paid out in 2015. So you can probably get a good idea of how far behind they actually are. Now, let's talk about Russia for a second, because today was a big day in Russia. Today, Russia celebrated Victory Day. I don't know if there's much to be victorious about today because of what's going on in Ukraine, and Russia has lost, I believe it's about 29,000 troops. That's a big number. I believe when they took over Crimea, I believe they lost less than 10 troops. So huge number. Now, what we were expecting today was, and according to White House officials, according to Intel, what the United States was expecting is Vladimir Putin to come out and provide some guidance moving forward. They also expected he would most likely, declare war with Ukraine. Well, these two things didn't happen. So what has happened in the past 2.5 months, we've heard about potential negotiations, but those things have really gone nowhere. Russia, and Ukraine, there were talks that Ukraine was going to provide assurances that they wouldn't join NATO. But those discussions have since stopped. Russia also wanted to see that the Donbas be demilitarized. And they wanted to see more neutral ground, potentially neutral ground in between the two of them. Right? Well, none of these things have gone anywhere. And they're likely to go nowhere until Russia pulls out of Ukraine. Here's the problem. Today we were expecting to see something happen. There was going to be some big statement from Putin. It didn't happen. So we're 2.5 months into this, and we may have not seen even the start. Some were expecting that Victory Day was going to be the day they were going to declare victory over Ukraine. They were going to pull out. Well, I wasn't necessarily expecting it to be today. I was thinking it's going to be sometime in the middle of May or to the end of May, so the next week to potentially 3 weeks. But based off what was said today, I don't know if this is going to happen. So the expectation is moving forward, there's going to be a lot more discussions as to what is going on in Ukraine, what is going on with Russia, because this is definitely impacting us here in the United States, and it's impacting the rest of the world as well. So one thing I can tell you is there's going to be a lot more updates coming. There's going to be a lot of news coming out. We are most likely going to see inflation come down. That's the expectation. Hopefully that's the case. The only problem is gas prices are going back up. So it's a little scary what's going to happen moving forward, but I promise I will be here every step of the way. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Have an incredible week this week as well. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor. Go ahead, hit that like button. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.